Hey guys, welcome to my budget channel where I can afford it, then you can too. And after that cheesy intro, I want to start out with my deck of the day. I want to present you my cubic deck. It's the most competitive version with a little bit of tweaks to it. So I'm actually trying to make like a very competitive version. So that one is actually maybe a little bit more expensive than, for example, the Abyss Actress. We will see how that turns out. We're starting off with the classics, triple Duza. Well, because it's just the best way to dump cards into the graveyard, get searches off, and so on. The card all in general enables your link plays, enables your other Crimson Nova, like the Crimson Nova, the Dark Cubic Lord. So Duza is actually one of the best playmakers, and you would be a fool to not run him at 3. So that's why I do it, because I ain't no fool. Next up is obviously triple Crimson Lord, because Crimson Lord is unaffected by hand traps as well, like Ghost Ogre ain't doing shit, Effect Veil ain't doing shit, all that kind of things. You can easily summon him from the hand in that deck, and burning your opponent, OTKing your opponent in one turn is quite neat. You have to watch out with spell trap cards, that is his biggest weakness, that's why you run off take cards to actually support him in that kind of sense. But that's all I can actually say to him. You want to get out at least 1 or 2 in your first turn, but you want to go second turn because it's an OTK deck. So if you go in the first turn, then you'll have a hard time anyway. I run a triple V-Jam, basically for Cubic Karma, being able to get 3 into the graveyard, then using Cubic Aura, having cards in your graveyard is quite neat as well. And the fact that it's a dark monster comes in handy sometimes too, with the Allure of Darkness, for example, or another tech choice that I will reveal later on in the deck profile. Plus it's a good stall, and you could ram it into your opponent's monster to negate its effects and so on, but basically never really comes up, but you could, so you have outs to cards that your opponent has that you wouldn't otherwise. I run one of those, one of this one, and one of the level 1s. Basically just to fill up your cubic cards a little bit. The names don't really do much here, so I will just show them, and it's 2 of the ones that need 1 tribute, one of the one that needs 2 tribute, the one that does 800 damage when summoned, because if you want to finish some decks, or if you go into time, could always happen against, if you're playing against like a play heavy deck of your opponent, getting in some 800 damage and actually winning the duel with that one is kind of neat, and it's not like slow playing or anything then, because you just do normal combos at that point. Also, it's kind of good to have 2 level the 1 tribute kind of monsters, because if you tribute one of your monsters while the cubic trap card reincarnation is in your graveyard, then you can instantly summon out a new cubic one, and that's how you go into link plays. That's how you start them off. Then you can start linking your monsters away to get more and more resources at that point, but that's how you start. You could use the effect like of both the Indiora or the other Buster Gun deal. If you summon them out with the reincarnation, ram them into your opponent when you already have 3 Duzas in your graveyard to get more cards into your graveyard and so on. That's all the combos that you can do with those cards. So you actually can stall quite a lot with this deck too if you really need to. I still run a card that, I don't know, not a lot of people decide to run anymore these days, but I run still Triple Summoner Monk. Since he's at 3, that makes it pretty good. He is quite interruptible, so that's the thing that you don't want to, and since Called by the Grave is at 2, kind of gives you into trouble sometimes, but he's a good way to get your Cubic Karma out Aura into the graveyard, and also to summon out Duza and get your play started and then go into rank 4. That's basically a rank 4 engine, and if you have to start first turn, you basically want to see Summoner Monk. Also, he is a Darkness monster, so for Allure of Darkness, that works pretty fine as well. To the next card, one tech choice that a lot of cubic players these days actually use in the cubic deck, it's Ally Birdman, because if you, for example, use Summoner Monk and get your Duza out, you can use Ally Birdman, get the Duza back to your hand, and then go into, let's say, a level 7, mainly Black Rose Dragon, the only level 7 that run in the deck, because the extra deck space is kind of tight since you can go into a lot of things, so you want to be versatile. But Black Rose obviously very good in a deck that OTKs, plus you get the Duza back to your hand, so actually you could normal summon again next turn, and you have another cubic card in hand then, and nuke the field. So what else would you want? Plus it's a Darkness monster, so if you really can't use it, then get rid of it with a Allure of Darkness. I ran triple Cubic Karma. Why wouldn't I? Cubic Karma, good searcher in the deck. I really love the card, and it helps you OTK if you have it in hand, so sometimes has use for that as well. That's basically all I can say to this card. Another playmaker that a lot of people forget that card exists. It really helps you a lot of the time. The Cubic Wave or Cubic Aura, whatever it's called in the OCG, It's good to negate your opponent's effect, it's good to OTK, but the graveyard effect is so important if you have like an opponent's monster has a really annoying effect that you really can't get over or can't get rid of, then being able to set the card to the graveyard with Druza, for example, is very, very neat if you can get the effect off and then just stomp your opponent with that one. Otherwise, reducing your opponent's attack points, monster's attack points, and you're bumping up your monster's attack points. Who would say no to that in an OTK deck? I run a triple Foolish Burial Goods because, well, card gets Karma to the graveyard, card gets Reincarnation to the graveyard, and card gets the Wave to the graveyard. So why wouldn't you want to do this? Starts off place. You don't want to start with double of them, so you could try to cut one. But in the end, if you start any doubles, then it's kind of screwed up anyway if it's not like a cubic card. Duza, for example, double Duza in hand wouldn't matter too much, but double Called by the Grave, not Called by the Grave, double Foolish Burial Goods is not what you want. I run double Allure because you have a lot of Darkness monsters, but not too many, and some of them you might not want to banish, so I only run double Allure to get some cards in, swap cards out of your hand that you don't need, like Summoner Monk maybe, if you only need one cubic card, so playing with that is quite neat. Talking about draw engines, I run double Pot of Desire, so you can obviously bump it up to 3 if you really feel so, but I felt like having the chance of drawing double Desires first turn kind of negates your chances of getting a lot of the Crimson Novas, or maybe 1 till 2, and you want to negate the chances that you have doubles or triples in your hand at the start, because your starting hand is the most important thing for the cubic deck, and if you can't get out a Crimson Lord, then you probably have lost that duel already, in my opinion. I play One Reasoning because you can always trade that out if your opponent knows, because it is quite, you have mainly level 4 monsters that can be special summoned, a lot of them cannot be special summoned, but you hope to want to get 1 or 2 karmas into the graveyard to really pop off, or maybe 1 reincarnation or something, then you get your play started. That's the main reason. If you can't summon a monster off of it, but milk quite good spell trap cuts to the graveyard, that would still be worth it. So if your opponent calls level 4, it's not hurting you too much, but it's quite easy for him to call level 4, and then the card is somewhat useless if you don't happen to get into a V-Jam or Ally Bertman, which that's why I like Ally Bertman too, because it's another target for Reasoning that is not level 4. Obviously, 1 Monster Reborn, because Duza triggers on special summons, so that is pretty neat. Getting Duza out twice in the same turn, either after linking it away or like tributing it for Gira or whatever, is pretty strong as well. I run double Called by Grave. If I don't know who I'm playing against, this is basically my lineup for if I don't know who I'm playing against, then I would go double Called by Grave. Otherwise, there's other tech choices in my side deck that would be better. And another tech choice that I really like, I don't know if how you guys think about it, but I like Mask Change 2 double to being able, if you have to go first turn, for example, I run a lot of Mask Change, that even bump it up to 3, being able to go into Dark Law is quite nice. Plus, there's certain amounts of combos that you can do with the cards. Since Duza is a light monster and V-Jam is a dark monster, you could either go into Koga or Dark Law, plus you can do it during a battle phase. Since you're an OTK deck, swapping out your monsters during the battle phase and doing more damage with stuff like Koga, for example, is quite neat. Plus, if you can, with that one, if you send the cubic monster to the graveyard, you can trigger cards like the Reincarnation and get another monster onto your field, and it even works if you have Reincarnation in your hand, then dump it into the graveyard, then swap out your monster, and then the Reincarnation in your graveyard triggers. So a discard in this deck is basically always needed as well to get rid of cards in your hand that you really don't want to. So I really feel like this card puts in a lot of work in the battle phase. Your opponent doesn't really expect it, and if you really have to go first turn, starting with the Dark Law can actually possibly get you into the next turn before being OTK'd, for example. And for the trap card, obviously run 3 Reincarnations, because, well, whatever the card's naming is these days. I know the most cards from the OCG, so don't blame that one on me. But obviously, trip off that one. You don't use it for the fusion effect at all, since I don't even run fusion substitute. I don't have the fusion monster in my deck, because it never ever comes up to fusion summon with the card. It's only for the graveyard effect, and that's the thing that you have to know. For a lot of the rank 4 engine, I play Castel, Ragnar 0, because you can lower your opponent's attack points of the opponent's monster's attack points, so getting a draw off and destroying your opponent's monster can be quite neat sometimes. Run Cowboy for time, run Baguska if you have to start first turn, if you can't do anything else but stall. Obviously Exit on Night, because Exit on Night is free. I run the Utopia, the Lightning Engine. I run even 3 of the Utopia cards. You can cut 1 if you want to, but I like being able to like get over an opponent's monster, and then still he has to get use card effects to get rid of the card because he can't battle over it because it still has 2 materials. I run one of the chains. You could run the cannon that has 2000 damage, but since you want to do in the end phase the 3000 of your main boss monster, like executing them away into the cannon that only does 2000 could be kind of annoying. Being able to stall with that card, for example, if your opponent cannot do anything else, then that's pretty neat. I run one Black Rose because of reasons I already explained, and then Decode Talker, Gaia Saber, and Topologic Womber Dragon to go into your link place with the Reincarnation. One link 2 might probably pretty good if you want to put Gaia out for a link 2. That would be neat for land for linkers maybe, but then you could not go into Decode Talker. That's why I was like struggling and like who would I play. And I run Koga and Darklaw, so to round up my mask change. So that's basically extra deck. And going into the side deck, it's not a perfect side deck yet because I'm missing 2 cards that I've not gotten yet, which are not very expensive. I just didn't find them yet. You can run Double Denko Sekka because Paleozoic and Altergeist and stuff, it restarts them down a little bit. I run one more mask change if I have to go first, because if my opponent definitely wants to go second, I won the first round, then being able to have another mask change in hand is kind of neat. Triple Twin Twister for basically all the matchups like Autogeist and stuff as well. Even against Pendulums you can take it, but since you're going second you can't really stop them from doing anything, so that's more against like Spell Trap card heavy decks. Double Hatronade, basically same reason, but it helps you more OTKing rather than just like not making your opponent do anything with it. I'm not quite sure what's better. Twin Twister I kind of like the discard, but Hatronade comes in handy a lot of the time as well, so not quite sure which card I might be cutting. You can run one Monster Gate. There's sometimes I really want it. Mainly you don't want to tribute the monster in the field though. If you have Reincarnation in your graveyard though, it can help you quite a lot, but that's just a tech choice of me. Obviously triple red reboot, because same matchup. If you are an OTK deck, then you don't really mind if your opponent gets to set a free card because you want to finish him by the end of the turn, so that's pretty good for the deck. If you pay half your life points, doesn't really matter because you're still left with 4,000, so even if you couldn't finish the deck, the game, you would still be left with 1,000 points if you have your Crimson Nova on the field. And then the other cards would be Forbidden Chalice / Forbidden Lands to protect your Crimson Nova from like targeting, which can put in a lot of work against Sky Strikers, for example, but I don't have a playset of them yet, so I didn't want to include them in the video. I really hope you like the deck profile. That's the deck profile for me today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a like if you did. Give me your thoughts on the deck, whatever you think about it, let me know, and I hope you have a good day.